Hello everyone, welcome to another WarLight strategic template review thing. Today I'm here with Jay-Z and we're going to talk about Strat MME, the modified medium earth version of the one versus one ladder template. So this is pretty famous template. Most everyone knows it. It's slightly modified from the original Strat ME. This one is 0% straight round. It's cyclic order. You have the usual set of cards, a reinforcement or a priority or the delay and a blockade. You have 3 initial picks and 4 initial armies per starting pick, and there are some wastelands of 10. So it's a pretty famous template. Usually from my plays on this game, usually you try to either go for 2 picks of 2+3s, try to get 2+3s. Sometimes there are some first turn bonus combos on the +3s themselves, so you need to be careful of that. And the modified medium earth version of this map, you also need to pay attention to the +5s. There are more beneficial, usually East US or East Russia. And Australia usually can be good as well, and Greenland can be good as well, but they were already pretty decent picks to begin with. Jay-Z, do you want to say anything in particular about this template? What strategies do you usually think of before picking?
So my favorite pick is if Greenland has Nuke or Denmark Haven as the pick spot and there's no wasteland. That's generally my favorite number one pick, just because it's powerful, it's hard to counter. It can counter the Scandinavian peninsula, and you can come down and counter East US. So it's just really a strong pick overall that I do usually like, especially if you have one of the bordering territories in Canada is wasteland, and then you can it makes it even easier to defend.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite picks. I also, like you said, I like to pick 2 3-points so I can get a second turn 11. That's generally very nice. I don't usually go for the first turn bonuses. There are some rare occasions where I think it's worth it, but a lot of the time, the first turn bonuses, you have to sacrifice income later on in order to get them. So some exceptions, let's see if I can think of an exception here where that's not the case. I don't think I can. So like Central America, for example, if you have Mexico and Colombia, you take that first turn, but you can't take South America on turn 2. And it's important to take your second bonus on turn 2. So if you were to double pick that, you'd have to make sure you had something else somewhere else that you could take turn 2. So maybe you have Scandinavian Peninsula you can finish on turn 2, or you have a 4-point somewhere that you can finish on turn 2.
Yeah. I think you can even finish a +5 on turn 2 if you do a first turn bonus.
I think you are 1 short.
I think if you tap, you can make it, but yeah, I would have to count to confirm that. Anyways, other usual picking strategies that you usually have to be aware of. The Boston Triple is pretty famous. You triple pick around Australia. You pick Antarctica, Australia, and Indonesia, and then just get all the income you can get very fast and explode into Asia. And going all the way into the Scandinavian peninsula and the Russias, trying to break everything that you can. Usually this gives you an initial income and a good initial income, and you can just and it's very safe because there are very, very few choke points to defend Australia and Indonesia, so and Antarctica itself. So it's usually a very good strategy that was already famous on the original Strat ME. And another point that people talk a lot about on this map is the importance of South America, because South America is very good positionally. So usually you can use it to counter Africa, you can use it to counter Antarctica, you can use it for expansion. So usually South America also comes into play a lot. and it's particularly safe because you can defend from Brazil. You can go to Argentina, so you can defend. You can go very quickly defending from Africa to defending against Sipple, for example. So that's something that also seen come into play quite often on these templates. Anything else you can think of, JZ?
One other thing I would note, a lot of the time, West Russia and Central Russia, both of those can be a bit risky to pick, because particularly Central Russia, if East Russia is available, that's a triple border, and the East Russia is a powerful bonus. Yeah. You don't want the triple bordering. So Central Russia is high risk. West Russia can be high risk if someone is in Southeast Asia. They come in and they grab that double border in Georgia. They can grab that double border from Scandinavian Peninsula, but then it's a mutual double border. So I don't like to pick West Russia very often. I occasionally pick Central Russia as a counter to East Russia, but a lot of this stuff in Asia, it's just kind of tread lightly in this area. You don't want to get excluded from it, but you can also get countered very easily from a lot of different directions.
Yeah, you need position there, but make sure it's safe position. Usually it's either East Russia, Scandinavian Peninsula, or Southeast Asia. I've seen some games where a pick in Middle East worked very well, because if you go Middle East, you get Iran, and from Iran you can access both the north and the south real quick. So you can counter all of Asia from there, but it's very risky to go Middle East because it's hard to defend these double borders or triple borders in some cases in Afghanistan or Iran. So it's more for position and not for income itself. What else can we say about Strat MME?
There are some players that like to jump out of the shadows at you if you pick one of the 5 points like East US on this distribution. You know, I've seen the occasional player pick Rocky Mountains as a counter, and you know, that doesn't ever end well.
For who?
For me, the case where I picked the East US and he jumped out on turn 2 and stole my bonus from me.
But the thing with these kind of counters is that you're countering, but you're not doing any income yourself because you will never finish your own territory. So it ends up you just even out the playfield. It's useful if the other person wasted a lot on neutrals while you were expanding elsewhere, but usually they have some other spots they can expand, and you just neutralized your opponent's territory by forsaking your own territory income. So I think it works best when it's against combos, countering against combos instead of countering against a simple pick. But it can work. It depends a lot on how you play it, I guess.
So just one other note that I would say, some of my favorite combos to get as far as bonuses that you can take is to get a 5 and 2 3s. Because you can choose to take the 2 3s by turn 2, or you can choose to take the 5 by turn 2, and then you can complete the other 2 3s by turn 3, and that gives you 5, 10, 16 income by turn 3, which is a really nice start to your game.
Yeah.
One other combo that I sometimes like to go for is if you have East Africa, Sudan, comboed with Nigeria. If you have that pick right there, do you see that?
Yeah.
Sudan and Nigeria, those two comboed together, as long as you don't have a counter in North Africa, you can take West Africa on turn 2 with a 3 point. So you get 12 on turn 2. Then on turn 3, you can complete East Africa because you're bordering everything in East Africa. So that's another combo that I like to see, just because, again, you're bordering everything after you take that first bonus.
Yeah, some people talk a lot about triple picking on Strat MME. Triple picking on Strat ME was a bit more famous because you had less options for initial expansion. And on this one, on MME, since you have the +5s that you can expand quicker, it's not as useful to triple pick, and it's very hard to make a triple pick work. So the conditions to make a triple pick work usually are you make sure that you get all of the 3 picks, and that you are surprising your enemy early on with the initial boost of income, either by finishing all of your free areas very quickly, or by immediately countering your opponent. So I've seen triple picks work on this layout. Usually they are around Africa, because if you triple pick around Africa, it's usually very safe, and you can still expand. But you can make triple picks work on everywhere else. Then there's the usual triple pick around Australia, which we already talked about. But usually I find them risky on Strat MME, so I would advise against it. I would much rather go for 2+3s or the +5, or both, as Jay-Z mentioned.
And there's a game on the 1v1 ladder, me versus Mifran. If you want to check it out, it shows an example of a triple pick in Africa, where he triple picked Africa and was able to take a bonus every single turn, and he wound up winning that game. So it sometimes works, but it's highly risky.
Okay. Anything else you can think of that's worth mentioning?
No, that's it.
Okay, so thank you everyone for watching. Hope you learned something about this. If this was useful or not, let us know. Post your comments on YouTube, post your comments on the forum thread that we will create. And that's it. Enjoy your games. Take care. Bye-bye.